everybody, welcome to our brand spanking new highlights programme from the Vanarama National League here on BT Sport. Over the next half an hour we'll bring you all the action from this weekend's games in English football's newly renamed fifth tier. Here's a little flavour of what's coming up.
6 wins out of 6. Can anyone stop the Forest Green juggernaut? The racecourse is rocking as Wrexham keep up the chase. And 10 men for 82 minutes, no problem for Cheltenham. Before play began on Saturday, a minute's silence was observed at non-league grounds across the country as a mark of respect to all those who lost their lives in the Shoreham air crash. The victims included Worthing United players Matt Grimstone and Jacob Schilt, who were in a car travelling to a Southern Combination Premier League game against Loxwood when the accident happened. Worthing United will honour the two players at their FA Vase game next weekend. There's only one place we can start, and that is with Forest Green Rovers, who were the only team in the division with a 100% record and look to hold on to that as they travel to Kidderminster, a side that had only won one of their last 21 league matches. And the visitors were in confident mood. After 24 minutes, some neat passing saw a Rob Sinclair cross find Curtis Guthrie, but his header was no match for goalkeeper Alex Palmer. Forest Green went close again, this time Aaron O'Connor trying his best to control a dangerous cross, but the forward couldn't get the ball past that man Palmer. Kidderminster manager Gary Wild must have lived up to his name at half-time as the home side came out with much more purpose after the restart. Adam Dawson displayed some good skill before testing the Forest Green keeper, Johnny Maxted. Guthrie was again the focal point of the visitors' attack and launched a mazy run from the halfway line which saw him dart and weave through the home defence, but was unlucky to see his shot go narrowly wide. The deadlock was finally broken after an hour. Some good teamwork from Forest Green gave Elliot Freer the opportunity to cross, and Keanu Marsh-Brown found himself with space to spank the ball into the roof of the net. Adi Pennock sensed his side needed another and threw on last season's top goalscorer John Parkin, and it turned out to be an inspired decision. With his first touch of the game, the beast glanced a header into the back of the net to make it 2-0. Kidderminster tried to find their way back into the game. Defender Andrew Fox found himself in an unlikely position at the edge of the box, but his effort went wide. Forest Green had a chance to make it 3, Parkin this time the provider, but O'Connor was foiled once again by Palmer. Tavon Campbell failed to produce a consolation, making it a frustrating day for the home side, but Forest Green march on with high hopes of earning promotion after 18 years at this level.
Obviously very pleased with the 3 points. We know it's going to be difficult today. They've got some good players, good young players here. This is a proper football club. The stadium and the supporters and the management staff here are very good. So we knew it's always going to be difficult to come here. But I thought it was very solid and maybe a little bit picky. We could have been a little bit more ruthless in front of goal. But to come away and win 2-0, I'm more than happy. We do defend from the front, and the front boys and the midfield boys, they work their socks off.
Since an opening day defeat at Bromley, Gary Mills's Wrexham had racked up 4 wins on the bounce, and with an unbeaten home record stretching back to January, the Welsh side were coming into their meeting with Halifax full of confidence. And the hosts didn't have to wait long for a breakthrough. Right back Javen Vidal finding himself in an advanced position. Vidal had never scored before at this level, but the 26-year-old finished with finesse. Halifax had won just 1 of their last 20 fixtures, and they continued to be dominated by the intricate passing from the hosts. After 24 minutes, the lead was doubled by Dominic Vos, bursting through the midfield before placing his shot into the corner. 4 goals in a Wrexham shirt for Vos this season. That's only 1 less than he managed in the whole of last season for Welling United. Neil Aspin's Halifax showed great spirit to claw their way back into the game immediately and half the deficit before half-time. If the Shaman are to get their season going, the goals of Jordan Barrow will be vital. The 22-year-old reached double figures for Lincoln last year. And it was Sean Tooton's cross that found the head of Barrow for his 5th goal of this campaign. But Wrexham restored their 2-goal lead 10 minutes after half-time. Wes York's speculative shot deflecting past Matt Glennon, his 3rd of the season, equalling his tally from last year, to the delight of a crowd of over 5,500 at the racecourse ground, the highest of the season. That's now 5 wins in a row for the Dragons, who move up to 2nd in the table.
Cheltenham was still unbeaten in their first campaign outside the Football League since 1998, but it was a terrible start for the visitors after George McLennan lost control of the ball and in his effort to win it back lunged into Torquay's Josh Carmichael. Referee Steve Rushton felt he had no choice but to reduce Gary Johnson's side to 10 men with 82 minutes still to play. In their effort to take advantage of the extra man, Torquay pressed and had a great opportunity to take the lead. Alex Fisher's cross was poorly defended and it fell to Simon Heslop, who in acres of space smashed the ball out of the ground. Undeterred by the earlier sending off, Cheltenham took the lead. Former Torquay player Aaron Downs connecting with a Jack Munn's cross and beating Fabian Spice at the near post. In the second half, a poor Spice kick fell straight to Amari Morgan-Smith, who fed Danny Wright to eventually scramble the ball home for number 2. And despite their numerical disadvantage, the rout was complete with 5 minutes to go. Wright, put clean through on goal, was upended in the box by Spice and dusted himself off to roll home from the spot and seal a win that extends the visitors' unbeaten start to the season. Cheltenham up to 6th, Paul Cox's Torquay without a win in 3.
Unbeaten Eastleigh looked like a team on a mission in the first month of the season after playoff semi-final heartache back in May. They travelled to the recreation ground to face an Aldershot side looking for their first home win since April. The Shots' rotten run at home looked to be continuing as Andy Drury's chipped ball was latched onto by James Constable, a scorer in all of Eastleigh's away games this season. Another delightful finish from Constable, 5 in 6 for him. Barry Smith's men looked to respond before the break, Dan Walker finding the side netting with this strike. Aldershot were too close for comfort to the relegation scrap last season. Summer signing Jack Saville couldn't quite make contact with this cross. Walker was involved again after the break, finding his namesake, former Luton striker Charlie Walker, who couldn't divert the cross goalwards. Aldershot continued to attack Eastleigh with their backs against the wall. With just over a third of the game to go, the breakthrough came for Aldershot. Reece Brown's cross turned in by Charlie Walker, his first goal in a Shots shirt. But it was Eastleigh that took home all 3 points. Former QPR winger Lee Cook striking in stoppage time. Cook was a conference champion with Barnet last season, and his new side are already looking like contenders for promotion this time around.
45 miles separate Macclesfield and Chester's grounds, but this derby would put the sides 14 places apart in the table at the end of 90 minutes. It was the home side that threatened first. Paul Lewis's persistence on the left flank was followed by a teasing cross inside Chester's box, but not a single Macclesfield player could get on the end of it. Daniel Rowe went close for the hosts later on. A marauding run from the midfielder gave himself space, but his shot went just over the bar. Goalless then at the break, but it was the home side who pressed home their first half superiority afterwards. Danny Whitehead's shot somehow finding its way past a packed Chester defence to nestle in the bottom corner, his first for the club. After going 1-0 down, Chester sparked into life. John Rooney scored a beauty last week and almost netted another, thwarted by George Pilkington's header off the line. It seemed like Macclesfield would end a run of 3 consecutive defeats. But the visitors weren't for throwing the towel in. And with 90 minutes on the clock, substitute Tom Pearce got the vital touch on a Rooney free kick to level. Both sides had a chance to win it in injury time. Macclesfield going close from this Chris Holroyd shot. But it was Chester who completed a remarkable late turnaround seconds before the final whistle. Craig Hobson turned Pilkington to lash past Richie Brannigan and send the visiting fans inside Moss Rose home rather happy.
After an unbeaten start to their first non-league campaign in almost a century, Tranmere were brought back down to earth by Boreham Wood last weekend. And things look no better for Rovers at Moss Lane. James Laurie's shot parried by Scott Davis and George Bowerman, continuing his record of scoring all of Altringham's goals this season, that being his 4th. Bowerman a real favourite of the home support. But records are made to be broken, and just before the half-hour, striker Mark Rankin found Laurie out wide, who picked out Rankin to head into the corner. His first for the club since moving from Gateshead in the summer, and finally a name on the score sheet other than Bowerman. The wheels appear to have come off for Gary Brabbin's side, and it could have been even worse before half-time. Tranmere's attempts to play out from the back proving fruitless. Altrincham seizing upon the ball, with Rankin looking to embarrass Davis from long range. Rovers searched for a route back into the game after half-time. Winger Marlon Jackson, one of 3 second-half substitutes, probing down the right, and his cross was somehow headed wide by another substitute, Nathan Blissett. Rovers did give their travelling support something to cheer about with 5 minutes to play. Lewis Maynard with his first goal since signing from Halifax. But it proved no more than a consolation. It's back-to-back defeats for Tranmere.
You're watching our weekly roundup from the Vanarama National League here on BT Sport. More action to come in a few minutes' time. Welcome back to our weekly roundup from the Vanarama National League here on BT Sport. Let's get back to the action.
1 defeat in 5 for Gateshead going into this one against a Guiseley side who've made a decent start to their first ever foray into the National League. But despite Guiseley having most of the possession, it was Gateshead who took the lead. The National League's top scorer, Ryan Bowman, turning provider to flick on to Danny Johnson, who cleaned through on goal, fired past debutant keeper Dan Atkinson with a neat finish. 2 minutes after the restart, Gateshead extended their lead. And it was Johnson again after getting onto the end of a through ball from Josh Gillies. Guiseley did force a good save from goalkeeper Sam Russell before the hour mark, when Tom Craddock smashed this effort goalwards after his first shot rebounded back into his path. Russell was tested once more with 8 minutes to go. Craddock's replacement Adam Boys was denied from close range. But despite Guiseley's superior possession, they had 11 corners. The home side were made to rue their finishing. Delight for Gateshead, though, who move into the playoff places.
A fevered atmosphere at Sincilbank ahead of the Lincolnshire Derby, the 99th league meeting between Lincoln City and Grimsby Town. Having failed to secure victory in their last 2 games, the Mariners were clearly motivated to take all 3 points this time around and started the stronger. The ball eventually running for Omar Bogle, whose shot was cleared off the line. From the resulting corner, another incredible scramble saw the ball eventually lashed over the bar by defender Sean Pearson. Padraig Armand has found the net 4 times in this campaign for Grimsby, and he too was denied by Lincoln keeper Paul Farman in a frantic first half. Before the break came the game's major talking point. Grimsby defender Josh Gowling and Lincoln striker Matt Reed in an off-the-ball confrontation. Gowling adjudged to have struck Reed. The result, a red card for Gowling and a penalty for Lincoln. Reed stepped up and slotted home his 5th goal of the campaign, more than he managed in the whole of last season at Mansfield. A goal down and a man down at half-time. Grimsby were in need of a moment of inspiration. Bogle's chest and overhead finish will live long in the memory of the travelling town fans. The home side looked to make their man advantage count. John Nolan's shot almost squirming past goalkeeper James McKeown, who managed to spare his own blushes. Honours even in the end as Paul Hurst Grimsby survived over an hour with 10 men in front of a crowd of almost 6,000.
We're used to playing in big games, and I don't think it's a major issue. You know, the incident aside, which again I can't say was he didn't handle himself well yet, because I'd want hopefully somewhere there'll be some footage before I really, you know, make a decision on that. But we conducted ourselves well, played on the front foot, played with aggression, but played with a lot of thought as well. You know, it's very easy in derby games just to run around and play with a lot of heart but not much thought, but I thought we used both today.
Barrow went into this one hoping to end a run of 4 games without a win. They were up against a Southport side who are yet to record a victory this season, have only scored 1 goal and are now letting their frustration show. The first real chance of the match fell to the home side, Andy Horwath finding himself in plenty of space before launching a long-range effort. With half-time looming, Barrow's top goal scorer last season, Andy Cook, came up with the goods. After controlling Simon Grand's header in the box, Cook smashed the ball into the net to give his side the lead. Southport almost equalised when a cross from Matthew Challoner found Andy Bishop, but on the turn the former Halifax striker couldn't get his shot on target. Barrow nearly doubled their lead when substitute Elliot Newby forced a fine save from the Southport keeper Andy Coughlin. Newby, though, was lucky to escape injury after a late challenge from Andre Jones. Referee Carl Evans had no hesitation in producing a straight red card. Southport's woes continued deep into injury time, where an off-the-ball incident involving Josh Thompson and Sam Cosgrove was seen by the referee's assistant, Helen Connolly, and on her advice, Thompson saw red for violent conduct. So Barrow show they may be a force to be reckoned with at home as they remain unbeaten, but for Southport, it goes from bad to worse.
An opening day victory at Parkview Road had failed to galvanise Welling United, with Louis Fazackerly's side having only claimed 1 more point since then. The home side found their way to goal via Route 1 after just 6 minutes against Braintree. George Porter flicking the ball on for Afi Obafemi to steer past Will Norris for his first United goal. Despite a season of struggle last year, Welling did manage the double over Braintree, but Danny Cowley's side drew level on 14 minutes. Matt Payne passing to Michael Cheek, whose low strike found its way through keeper Tom King, his first for the club after 15 goals in the last campaign for Chelmsford City. Welling looked to regain the initiative after the interval. Rhys Harris with a mazy run at the Braintree back line. His powerful shot veering inches wide of goal. With 15 minutes to play, Cowley replaced Cheek with substitute Anthony Edgar. And just 30 seconds later, Edgar justified his manager's faith. The former West Ham striker is the cousin of Jermaine Defoe, and he picked out the perfect through ball for top scorer Dan Sparks to win the match for Braintree. Sparks has scored 3 times this season, all coming in the last 3 games. That's 3 wins in a row, their best run for a year.
Conference South playoff winners Boreham Wood were welcomed home after a terrific victory at Tranmere last week, but faced tough opponents in Gary Hill's Woking, who were on a 4-game winning streak. And it looked like Woking's run would continue as Chris Arthur breezed past Boreham Wood's midfield to send a rasping shot that stung the palms of goalkeeper Preston Edwards. Woking came close again. A long ball from Joey Jones was headed down for John Goddard, whose volley came crashing back off the bar. Woking's efforts, though, were finally rewarded when a free kick went their way on the edge of the box. Cadell Daniels stepped up and sent the ball flying into the net for his second of the season. They should have made it 2 after the break, but somehow from this corner, Ishmael Yakubu and Kieran Murtagh couldn't get the ball to cross the line. Boreham Wood manager and former Arsenal midfielder Ian Allinson needed to do something and used all 3 subs to try and change the game, and it paid off when Junior Moray, one of the replacements, weaved through Woking's defence and slotted a lovely finish past Jake Cole with 8 minutes to go. And in the dying embers, Boreham Wood could have snatched it. A cross into the box found Ricky Shakes, but his shot went just over the bar. Allinson will have been pleased with his side's second half display, but a draw wasn't enough to stop Woking slipping a couple of places down the table.
The Bromley Arena hosted 2 sides with contrasting fortunes. Bromley without a win since the opening day, Dover undefeated in their last 4 matches. Early signs were this contest would follow the form book. Former Newcastle trainee Nicky Deverdix first onto the loose ball for Dover, his shot clipping the crossbar in a goalless first half. But Deverdix would not be denied. Ricky Miller on the run for Dover, and it was Ricky finding Nicky to score his second goal of the season with just 20 minutes to go. Last year's Conference South winners are made of stern stuff, and there was a reprieve for the Ravens, 2 minutes from time and a golden chance for an equaliser. A clumsy challenge from Tyrone Sterling bringing down Bromley's Anthony Cook. Referee Craig Hicks awarding the penalty to Mark Goldberg's side. It was left to the manager's son Bradley to rescue a point, keeper Mitch Walker denying him once, but not twice. Frustration for Dover manager Chris Kinnear, but Athletics' unbeaten run stretches to 5 games.
So, after all that, it's Forest Green who sit proudly on top of the Vanarama National League with a maximum 18 points from 6 games and still only 1 goal conceded. But AD Pennock's team aren't running away with it. Wrexham are up into 2nd place, just 3 points adrift after their 5th straight win. Eastleigh are still unbeaten in 3rd, a point ahead of Woking and Gateshead. Cheltenham are the league's only other undefeated team after that remarkable win at Torquay. Chester's 2 injury-time goals at the Moss Rose have pushed Macclesfield into the bottom 4, and there's still no sign of a win for the 3 clubs below them. It couldn't get much worse for Southport. 2 red cards on Saturday and just 1 goal scored in their first 6 games. That's just about it for the inaugural National League highlight show, but don't forget to join us on Monday as we bring you Cheltenham Town against Wrexham, 2 of the league's in-form teams, exclusively live on BT Sport 1 from 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.